In the arsenal of ancient warfare, few weapons were as terrifying or as decisive as fire. In Chapter 12 of The Art of War, Sun Tzu dives deep into this element of chaos. But he's not talking about mindless destruction. No, he's talking about how to wield fire with cold, calculating intelligence, how to use it as a strategic tool to break an enemy's spirit and their supply lines.
And he says it right at the top. Using fire isn't about brute strength. It's a sign of a sharp, strategic mind. It's for the general who understands that creating panic, sowing confusion, and destroying morale can be far more powerful than a head-on charge. This chapter isn't just about tactics, you see, it's about psychology.
So how do you apply this intelligence? Well, Sun Tzu doesn't leave it to the imagination. He gives us a brutally precise breakdown of the 5 primary ways to turn an enemy's camp into an inferno. Look at the logic here. It's a systematic dismantling of an army. You start with the soldiers themselves, creating immediate panic. Then you hit their food, their supplies. After that, their logistics, the baggage trains. Then you destroy their ability to even fight back by burning their weapons and arsenals. And finally, you rain fire down directly on them. Every single step is designed to cripple the enemy's body and their will to continue. But, and this is a huge but, you can't just go around lighting fires. A true strategist knows this is a double-edged sword. You have to meticulously control the conditions because if you don't, that same fire will absolutely turn on you. Sun Tzu breaks this down into 2 key parts. Means available. That's all about circumstance. You need the right conditions, dry weather, a good wind, maybe even some help from inside the enemy camp. And material in readiness. That's the practical stuff. You literally have to have your kindling ready, your oil, your fire starters, all set to go at a moment's notice.
And this is where you see the incredible detail in his thinking. It's not enough to just wait for a dry day. No, a great general watches the sky. Sun Tzu points out there are special days, times when the moon is in certain constellations, that were known to bring strong winds. That wind is the accelerator for your entire plan.
The sieve, the wall, the wing, the crossbar. Now to us, this might sound like astrology, right? But you have to understand, for Sun Tzu, this was science. It was pattern recognition based on generations of careful observation. It shows you that a brilliant commander had to be more than a warrior. They had to be a meteorologist too. All right, so the fire is lit, the trap is sprung. Is the job done? Not even close. Now the battle enters its most fluid, most dangerous phase. The fire creates chaos, and a good commander has to be ready to react to 5 potential outcomes.
Let's start with the first development. This is the best-case scenario.
If the fire starts inside their camp, you hit them immediately from the outside. The logic is just perfect. They're totally disoriented, fighting a battle on 2 fronts, the inferno erupting among them and your army charging their walls. That's the moment to attack with everything you've got.
But what if it doesn't go according to plan? The second development is a true test of a commander's nerve.
The fire is raging, but the enemy's soldiers are quiet, disciplined. In this case, Sun Tzu's advice is clear. Hold back. Do not attack. This requires incredible patience, but a calm enemy is a prepared enemy. The fire failed to create the panic you needed, and charging in now would be walking straight into a trap. The third development is all about timing your strike to perfection. You wait until the fire is at its absolute peak. That's your window. That is the moment of maximum chaos, when their command structure is probably in shambles. But notice that critical little phrase, if that is practicable. You never ever attack blindly. If the fire itself is blocking your path, you have to be smart enough to wait.
The fourth scenario? This one is about making your own luck.
And we get this incredible historical example from Pan Chao. The lesson here is that you don't always have to wait for an opportunity. Sometimes you have to create it. If the conditions are right, you start the fire yourself, from the outside. As you famously said, never venture, never win. It's about taking that bold, decisive action to clinch the victory.
And finally, we come to the 5th development, which is a simple, tactical rule that is absolutely vital. When you start the fire, you must be upwind. Never, and I mean never, attack from downwind. It seems so obvious, right? But in the chaos of battle, it's an easy mistake to make. If you attack into your own smoke, you're blinding your troops, you're choking them, and you're fighting the very weapon you just unleashed. The wind must always, always be at your back.
Now, while this chapter is full of these hardcore tactics about fire,
Its real lesson is actually much deeper. It's about a fundamental mindset, something the text calls the spirit of enterprise. This right here is the philosophical heart of the chapter. To win, a leader cannot be passive. You have to be constantly looking for opportunities and have the guts to seize them. Just sitting on an advantage, playing it safe, that leads to stagnation, and eventually it leads to defeat. This spirit of enterprise is about a relentless drive to move forward, to use tools like fire to create the openings that lead to a decisive end.
And this all brings us to the chapter's incredibly powerful conclusion. After laying out one of the most ruthless strategies in warfare, Sun Tzu pulls the camera way back to remind the leader of the immense, crushing weight of their decisions. He's saying that war cannot be a casual affair. Every single move has to be justified. Is there a real advantage? Is there something tangible to be gained? Is the situation truly critical? If you can't say yes to those questions, a wise leader keeps their army at home.
And then he draws this stark contrast between our fleeting emotions and the permanent consequences of war. A ruler's anger, a general's frustration, those feelings will pass. But a kingdom that's been destroyed for those petty reasons, that's gone forever. And this is the final, brutal truth that he leaves us with. The dead stay dead. It is the ultimate, non-negotiable price of conflict. And it's a truth that every leader should have seared into their mind before they ever think about going to war.
So isn't it something? A chapter dedicated to the brutal art of the fire attack ends not with a celebration of victory, but with a profound plea for caution. It suggests that the deepest strategic wisdom, the most intelligent use of force, all points to one thing: restraint. That the best way to win is to find a way to keep your country at peace and your army intact. A paradox, for sure, but one that is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.